chat room. New tablet, well deserved. Ace Attorney in this stream, localized entirely on Twitch. What's happening here, huh? God of War tomorrow, boys. Let's go. I'm facing this way, so.
New badge pop chat.
Hi, Charlie. New badge? Sorry, Brian's very quiet today. Huh? How you doing, my friend? Huh? I'll be facing this way when we're gaming, so we will be facing it anyway. I'm just facing chat right now. I think we're in an intermission right now, right? It happened a little bit. 23rd of October. Halo Infinite Co-op is here. You held off on playing the campaign, didn't you, Charlie, for that? That's right. I remember you were like... Did you ever crack, or have you waited? Oh ho ho. Man's ready to go, huh? Hope you enjoy, Charlie. Have you got a mate ready to play with? Having a blast? Let's go. I'm glad you're having a good time. The old Bailey discount at the chamber. Fucking Hairbrain was like confessing, I think, right? The last time we saw him. It's also funny, he's described as being in Germany, like he was in Germany for a while, and I was giving him a German accent. But there's also the little kid character who's very clearly having is from somewhere like he's Germany or Austrian, German or Austrian. He has like his text is written with an accent. This guy isn't written with an accent though, so maybe he has a lighter accent, huh? and then the kid has a stronger accent. Is that what it was? Bohemian? The kid. Right. Well, it's been a little bit. Can't really remember what's going on. Don't worry, I'm kind of at the same stage. We'll get caught up as we go. It's Sonata Hodo. Yes. I'm so sorry. I was wrong. You were right. I tricked you. You trusted me. I dragged you into my mess. Oh, how did it ever come to this? I'm so sorry. Well, what there for a second. Did you really have no idea, Professor? Oh, that's right. That's like the guy funding it was working with someone to like fake the experiment so they could get the grant money. That's right. And they had the body in the balloon, and the guy shot from the ground with a crossbow. It's all coming back now. But oh, and it's fucking Drebber from A Study in Scarlet as well. That's right. And they're looking to get him. That's what it was. They're looking to go off and get Drebber. About what Mr. Drebber was really up to, I mean? About what he was really constructing? Naturally. That machine was the embodiment of my hypothesis, of all my hopes and dreams. I had complete faith in it. Alright. In that case, I won't say any more. Now, sadly, the murder accusation against you still stands. So we must do as much investigation as we can before the trial resumes tomorrow. Well, thank you for doing so much for me. Alright, lad. What we do. Oh yeah, it's Sada was back, that's right. I'm so sorry for arriving late this morning, Mr. Naruhodo. Arriving late? Didn't you receive my postcard? I wanted to let you know when I'd arrive. Postcard? What postcard? I hid it from you, Reno, so it'll be a surprise. Well, did it work? I was surprised, alright, especially when she threw me to the ground. Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I was just so happy to see you again that it sort of slipped out. Maybe we could stick to more traditional displays of emotion in future. Susie train was late into London Victoria this morning, you see. And we made the coachman really whip the horses hard so we didn't miss the whole trail. Or trial, sorry. Who whipped the horses, sir? I was watching from the gallery for a while, but in the end, I'm afraid I couldn't contain myself. Well, I'm glad you didn't. Oh. Having get my side in court gives me the strength I need to win. So, I'm, delighted to see you back in London. Oh, you're too kind, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm delighted to be here. I hope I can continue to be of service to you. Of course. So, what's brought you back? Did Professor Mikotaba not protest? Let's save all that conversation for when we're back at home, shall we? You know, I've made one of my most special blends ever for this special occasion. Oh, Iris, how wonderful. I can't wait. Let's go have some tea, boys. Sato-san was back in London. It's hard to describe how happy that made me feel at the time. But despite my elation, our tale was about to take yet another extraordinary turn. Ah. Guess we better save again. Investigation Part 2. 23rd of October, 2:41 PM. Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. Oh, this room. It's been too long. It hasn't changed in the slightest, though. It's been some 6 months, hasn't it? That's a long time for things to stay so familiar. I didn't know when you might return, and I wanted everything to be as you left it. But it has been some 6 months, it's true. Was your father alright, Susie? What happened? My father? Yes, Professor Mikotaba. I mean, it was half a year ago, but that's why you went back to Japan. Because of the telegram you received saying he'd fallen ill with a very high fever for some unknown reason. That's right. I was surprised to learn you'd be coming back so soon. Surprised but happy. I think I wrote about it in my letter to you, that it was all a trick. My father is in fine health, and I'm obviously very relieved about that. Well, we're all delighted to have you back. It was quite by accident that I've been able to return to Europe, actually. It's because of a very grand conference called the International Forensic Science Symposium. The International Forensic... That's the same symposium Lord Strongheart mentioned. Anyway, I've arrived safe and sound, and all that matters is that I'm here now. After all, I haven't yet fulfilled my promise to you, Iris. Oh? You must tell us everything that happened while you were back in Japan. Yes, of course, I shall. And there's one other thing. Something you wrote in your letter that particularly grabbed my attention. About, you know who. About Kazuma. I know. I'll tell you all that I can. Alright, Susato, give us a date. Jesus! Back in Britain! When I first arrived back in Japan, I really thought I'd never be allowed to return to Britain. But curiously, after that awful trial at the Supreme Court, Father's mood changed entirely. The awful trial? Oh yes. For the murder of Giselle Brett. Oh, you dressed as a man then, didn't you, Susie? That was the first trial in this game. Or you were playing as Susato. Oh, well, yes. Since women are forbidden in the courtroom, I had no choice. Wow, amazing. I wish I'd seen it. Don't you, Bruno? Yes, I suppose so. I want to play at being a lawyer now. I could wear a false mustache, maybe. I don't think any mustache could hide the fact that you're just 10 years old, Iris. There's something else I've been wanting to ask you, Miss Susato. It's about the real reason why Professor Mikotaba summoned you back to Japan. You said in your letter it was something to do with that convict's loot we found in Mr. Natsume's lodgings. The one under the floorboards, right? From the last trial. That's right. The very large dog collar we found with the bee emblem on it. It seems Mr. Natsume included a drawing of the collar in the report he submitted about his time in Britain. I understand that when Father saw the report, he turned as white as a sheet. Why would that be then? Father came to Britain himself, of course, to study. It was some time ago now, but he stayed for 6 years. I can only imagine that something must have happened during that time. But if he refuses to tell me what it was, then I intend to find the answers for myself. And I've decided that I, for one, won't keep any more secrets. Oh, Susie. That's a very meaningful look Sasato-san's giving Iris there. Yeah, it's because that's right, the last trial we did about the convicts loot was like technically took place during the first game. Like it was like slotted in technically between two of them. Forensic Science Symposium. Lord Strongheart mentioned something about that symposium too. I think he said that investigative authorities from 40 different countries would attend. Yes, and from Japan, my father and Judge Jigoku have been invited. It's something of an honor, I believe. Well, Professor Mikutaba is the leading expert in forensic medicine in our country after all. But who's the other person you mentioned? A judge, did you say? Yes, His Excellency Judge Seishiro Jigoku. You've met him, Mr. Naruhodo. Last year, in the Supreme Court. You can't possibly have forgotten. That terrible trial of yours when you were accused of murder? Yes, I try to think of that as a positive turning point in my life these days. Yeah, he's like friends with the dad, right? Well, it was Judge Jigoku who presided over that trial. If I'm perfectly honest, I'd be happy never to see that man's face again in my life. Oh, well, anyway. As father was invited to the symposium, he agreed to me returning to Britain too. He won't actually arrive until next month, but, well, I couldn't wait. So I pleaded with him, and in the end, he agreed to me going on ahead. Yes, about the symposium. It seems as though Lord Strongheart has put in an awful lot of work to make it happen. It's obviously very important. I believe it is, yes. As I understand it, Lord Strongheart organised the entire event himself. I think he's hoping that by achieving exceptional results, he'll get the job of Attorney General. The most senior position in the British justice system. He's hoping to use his power to create the world's finest policing institution. That's what Father said anyway. Apparently it's Lord Strongheart's lifelong ambition. Does Professor Mikutaba know Lord Strongheart personally then, I wonder? Actually, Lord Strongheart gave me a long speech all about this very subject only yesterday. But I sort of lost the will to live early on and didn't really listen to much of it. I'm trying for you. Yeah, he's like droning on, wasn't he? Right, Giselle Brett. Giselle Brett. The woman whose unforgivable actions ended in me being wrongly accused of a crime I didn't commit. The murder of Dr. John H. Wilson. Yes, Giselle Brett. That's a name I won't forget for as long as I live. The extraordinary thing is, though, it's a name we should all forget. Sorry? Since the incident, our government's intelligence services have been investigating Miss Brett. But it turns out that an English woman by the name of Giselle Brett didn't actually exist. Didn't exist? But how can that be? It was a pseudonym. Her real name was Shin. And she wasn't a visiting student either. That was a front. Like a English spy? Front? Who on earth was she then? Miss A. Shin. Her name is literally all our intelligence services have been able to discern about her. Nobody knows why or even how she came to be in Japan. Asian? Ashen? Can't think of the pun in the name. Ashen, maybe? I don't know. It's a complete mystery. But that makes no sense. It's no easy task to be accepted as a foreign student anywhere. What could the woman have been up to? I'm afraid I really don't know. The only thing we can be sure of is that she had some business in our country that we don't yet understand. Wasn't she trying to start like an international incident between Japan and England? And Britain, I guess. Pretty sure that was her whole, like, agenda. Because the guy she killed, like Iris's dad, was an English professor in Japan. I think he was trying to start like an incident. But there's been a whole like undertone of like the political tensions between Japan and Britain in these games. So I think that's kind of it was all the intelligence stuff at the end of last game as well. I believe that's kind of what's going about. Now she's been killed. All the questions surrounding her existence remain unanswered. I'm afraid so. Shin. Who on earth was she? Why do I feel as though I've heard that name before somewhere? What about Kazuma? After my friend Rei's trial, The reporter who actually killed Miss Brett said something very strange. Can't remember this guy's voice. I know the truth. I know you had a hand in what went on. In that visiting student's fate. Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know that the guy never made it to England. That he died on that steamship. And that he'll never... Obviously, I couldn't ask him to elaborate at the time. But later, I visited the man in his prison cell and asked him what he was going to say about Kazuma-sama. And what did you learn? After he died on the voyage to Great Britain, his body should have been unladen at the port of Hong Kong and passed into the care of the consulate staff there. Should have been? Well, it turns out that his body never arrived. It just disappeared. What? Kazuma's body vanished? Our government tried to cover the fact up, seems. They erected a grave on the cliffs by our hometown. Except, Kazuma-sama isn't there. That's the one she was, like, talking to, wasn't it, the grave? Did Professor Mikutaba know about this? Yes. It would seem that he did. But he didn't tell me. They're still investigating what happened to Kazuma-sama's body as we speak. I just don't believe it. And what is this acute feeling of apprehension I have all of a sudden? The Kazuma mystery. Thinking back now, some of the things that happened on the SS Buria were definitely strange. I mean, after he died, we never saw his body again, did we? Could it be? Could it be that he's actually still alive? Stop it, Mr. Naruhodo. It's too much to bear. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Just thinking about the possibility pains me so very much. Cast your mind back for a moment, Mr. Naruhodo. When Kazuma-sama was discovered, Mr. Sholmes was there, wasn't he? And he definitely examined the body. I remember it clearly. Ah, you're right. So if Kazuma hadn't actually been dead at all, it would have been that Mr. Sholmes had lied to us. But there's no reason why he would have possibly done such a thing. I suppose that's true, yes. The idea that he might still be alive somewhere. It wants to fill me with hope, but can't let it. Because if it turned out not to be true, then I'd be back at the bottom of that awful pit of despair again. He was a wax figure. But tie him back in with the current one. I'm terrified of what that might do to me. Oh, Mrs. Sato. I know she's given the idea the thought it deserves. It's the Sato-san we're talking about, after all. But I probably shouldn't push it now. We move? The tea? You have water gently boiling on the stove, I see. It feels wrong somehow if I can't hear the water bubbling away. We have plenty of logs. It's not like we have to worry about paying for gas. It's important to open the window for fresh air when the fire's burning, though. You can't keep it closed just because it's cold outside. It could be a matter of life and death. Avoiding the freezing winter air is a matter of life and death too, if you ask me. Oh well. Perhaps a nice cup of tea will warm you up later. We can't move. Oh, hours. Must be about a year ago now. I wrote a really long story based on some of my father's old notes. It's about one of Hurley's greatest exploits. I called it The Hound of the Baskervilles. Looking forward to reading that one. But then Mr. Sholmes forbade you from publishing it. And put the manuscript somewhere nobody could get their hands on it. But nobody knows anything about it apart from Hurley and I. But for some reason, You knew the title of it, didn't you, Susie? Oh, it sounds so exciting. The Hound of the Baskervilles. I should love to read it. From the last game, I think, as well. And you wouldn't tell me. How did you come to know it? Yes. But I made you a promise that I would explain one day, didn't I? I think it's time. Oh? I'm only sorry I've had to keep it from you for so long, Iris. The Hound of the Baskervilles. It was completely by accident that I came to know the title of your manuscript, Iris. It was a short while before we left Japan. I was cleaning Father's study and I saw something on his writing desk. A large box of papers. There was a label affixed to the box that was written in English. It read, The Hound of the Baskervilles. What? My Baskerville story? Of course, I had no idea what it was at the time. My father came in and... Susato, what are you doing? Oh, Father. Did you look at those papers? No, I simply read the label, that's all. Well, put it out of your mind. Sorry? Forget that you saw it, and certainly don't tell anybody else about this. Do you understand? NDAs, huh? But what was Iris's manuscript doing in Japan? I have no idea. But when I heard Iris mention the word Baskerville that day, the title just slipped out. I would never have guessed that it was an unpublished account of one of Mr. Sholmes' exploits. When I returned to Japan, I asked Father to explain, but he refused to answer any of my questions. There was no sign of the big box in his office. Hi, Leo. You alright? That's really all I know about it. I have no doubt that Father has a very good reason for being so secretive about it, but still... I made up my mind to explain myself to both of you. Well, thank you for being so honest, Susie. The beans have been spilled. So, Mr. Naruhodo, I'm ready to start investigating if you are. I've committed every detail about the case to memory. And Iris has told me about the disturbing happenings at the Waxwork Museum as well. So, you're fully abreast of the situation already, Mr. Susato. I expected nothing less, to be honest. I would think our first port of call should be to investigate this Mr. Drebber, the engineer responsible for building the elaborate machine that was used to effect this extraordinary trick. Right, I'll be honest with you, chap. You know I'm always upfront about the information I know. So, after stream last time, I was like, is Drebber the name of the fucking boy from A Study in Scarlet? Because I'm going to look like a dumbass if I'm wrong. So I looked it up. I was correct. Unfortunately, however, the first result on Google is the Sherlock Holmes wiki, remember? The second result is the Ace Attorney wiki, and I saw what Drebber looks like, and I've already come up with my fucking reference in mind, so I'll lay that out there. I do know what Drebber looks like. So Google fuck me, hey? Just a look, that's all I know. Just a look. He looks like a character I like from a show. And that's what I'm using as reference when he comes on screen. If you've seen the show, you're gonna get it like you're gonna get it like that. If you haven't seen the show, it'll not click. I don't think you've seen it, Noodle. You haven't seen the show. Yes, a conjurer of sorts by the sound of it, well known in the fields of science and magic. They may need to go and arrest him. Well, yes. You must know the truth behind this case, so I agree we really need to find the man. You already read so many Ace Attorney characters in my voice. I haven't even done those original games yet, though, so I don't know what voices you have for them. But you can look forward to, like, my voices for Dick Gumshoe and Larry, and... I mean, Phoenix is probably going to be boring. Phoenix is just going to be the normal voice, but, like, the Judge is the same. Yeah, I suppose the Judge is the same. Pain is the same, too. It sounds like it's a case of tracking someone down. Which is a job for the police, or a great detective. Are we supposed to guess who she might be thinking of? We don't have much time, so we need to get started straight away, I think. Good idea. Well, best of luck then. Oh, you're not coming today? I'm going to Brixton Road shortly for the herb market. But let me know later how you got on, won't you? Okay, Iris, have fun. That was a little abrupt. The pull of the herb market must be strong. You can't wait for a Franziska's voice. I haven't even thought of that time. That's gonna be one of them one time. Alright, let's go. New location has been added. Sholmes' suite, the office, the prison, the prosecutor's office, the experimentation stage, Madame Tuspel's. Let's go to the suite. See if Sholmes in his suite. 23rd of October. Sholmes' suite. Is he here? Nope. Man's not here. Alright. Is Lord Strongheart in his office? Oh. Who's this? Hey? Hmm. 23rd of October. I'm gonna be very embarrassed if this is a man, huh? British Supreme Court. Lord Chief Justice's office, huh? Oh. Who's that standing beside Lord Strongheart? I wonder... Never seen her before. Oh, we're alright then. We're safe then. Oh my lord. Who is this? Ah, the young champion of the court. You had some success this morning, I understand. And you've thrown the entire government into disarray as a result. Oh. You mean because of Professor Harebrain's experiment? Sham science being demonstrated at London's Great Exhibition. The country's been made to look foolish. And now politicians are scrambling to respond. Lord Van Zieks is in Whitehall as we speak, giving an emergency briefing. Oh dear, I didn't mean to cause any trouble. None of this is your responsibility. The government is entirely to blame for having been taken in. The special dispensation that prevents investigation at that scene will be annulled later today. Once that happens, my forensic investigation team will move in and deal with that scrap metal in no time. It's scrap metal now, is it? Until later then, Lord Strongheart. Yes, thank you. Who's that? That was Dr. Courtney Scythe, Scotland Yard's esteemed chief coroner. He's leading the forensic investigation team's handling of this case. He was just delivering her report about the victim, in fact. Oh, I see. But Mr. Asman. Following the outcome of the trial earlier, I asked the coroner's office to reevaluate its findings. I don't have time to tell you what she concluded. If you want to know, you'll have to ask her directly. Ah, terrible, huh? You can find her in the forensics laboratory. Ah, right. Now, what were you here to see me about? I can give you 7 minutes and 39 seconds of my time. We're not running quite so spectacularly late anymore. Wait, oh, actually, you have them? Okay. The forensic investigation team. What exactly is the forensic investigation team that you mentioned before? The British Empire's police force must become the most exemplary in the world. For that to happen, it's imperative that we embrace forensic science and everything it has to offer. I first created the forensic investigation team a year ago now. Unofficially, of course, to pave the way. Goodness, a year ago? At next month's symposium, I intend to present the results of their work to the world. Once I do that, the House of Lords will be powerless to oppose the creation of a full-scale forensics division. And once that happens, the position of Attorney General will be mine, and criminals will suffer dearly. What do you mean? For too long, these scoundrels have made a mockery of our legal system with those false evidence and bribes. But London's scum is about to be rounded up and burnt in the fires of hell. Fucking Frollo, hey? Uh-oh. I intend to see to it personally. By creating the finest police force the world has ever known, to protect our honor and our future. Look at those eyes. He means every word. Dr. Scythe is an extremely reliable coroner. When I officially establish the Forensics Division at Scotland Yard, twice away, she will run it as my right-hand woman. Now then, speaking of the symposium, Miss Mikotaba. Oh, yes, my lord? Your father should be on the high seas as we speak, making his way here to represent the Empire of Japan. Yes, that's right. I understand he will arrive at the beginning of next month. Are ye acquainted, Lord Strongheart? With Professor Mikotaba? I mean? It was many years ago now, but yes. I remember Dr. Mikotaba very well. Dr. Mikotaba? If my memory serves, it was some 15 years ago now that your father came to Britain as a visiting student. It was the year I was born, so yes, 16 years ago in fact. Mikotaba was a young practitioner of forensic science, and Shigoku accompanied him as a young, promising judge. The punctiliousness and politeness of the Japanese at the time impressed us greatly. Not that I wish to imply impoliteness or carelessness on your part in any way. I didn't think that you were. Dr. Mikotaba studied forensics at one of London's largest hospitals. St. Synod's, if I'm not mistaken. Dr. Scythe was there also, as it happens. Then, Dr. Scythe knows my father, does she? She was a young medical assistant at the time, so I doubt their paths crossed regularly. But I've no doubt they knew each other superficially. After all, Dr. Mikotaba was here studying his subject for some 6 years in total. 6 years? That's a long time to be studying abroad, isn't it? I lived with my grandmother in those years. We left his newly born daughter behind and went overseas for 6 whole years. It was a rather turbulent time at home. Oh. Perhaps father wanted a reason to get away. What do you mean, why? Well, clearly something was going on at the time. Lord Van Zieks. I wanted to ask you about Lord Van Zieks, actually. I heard that his older brother was killed some years ago by a mass murderer known as the Professor, who targeted nobles and royalty. Is that right? Let's try it. Go with them. You Japanese are a thorough lot. You've done your research well. Yes. And you could say it was that very incident that gave rise to the Reaper. But why? When his brother, Clint Van Zieks, was murdered, it was just after young Barrock had graduated from the University of London and become a prosecutor. When obvious criminals who managed to evade conviction in court started disappearing, rumors quickly spread throughout the capital. Londoners started to say that wherever Barrock Van Zieks went, the ghost of his dead brother wasn't far behind. Oh my word. So, Lord Van Zieks isn't the Reaper, it's the ghost of his brother? Please. Ever since that time, he became a very aloof figure in London's legal circles. Man's got a JoJo stand, hey? Oh yes, Lord Strongheart. Go ahead. It's about Professor Harebrain's experimental machine. We'd like your permission to examine the remains, if possible. Are you well versed in science, then? Not in the slightest. In fact, you could say I was barely aware of the subject at all until recently. Well, the special dispensation legally preventing investigation of the machine is currently being annulled. Within a few hours, Dr. Scythe's team of forensic experts will begin their own investigation. But I suppose until then, there's no harm in you looking at the wreckage, as long as you touch nothing. Thank you. Being able to look at it is better than nothing. And I'll be able to see it too. Your time is up. You'll have to excuse me now, I'm afraid. My next engagement calls. We are extremely sorry to have troubled you. You're so busy, my lord. I have important matters to attend to in preparation for the symposium, you understand. See ya. Anything else here? Nope. Kind if I can keep going. Okay. The new location of that. So the prison is probably Harebrained, right? Oh, Jesus. 23rd of October. Local prison. Cell 11. What's he doing? Oh my, the whole wall of the cell is covered in mathematical equations. He's still writing more now. Professor? Sorry to interrupt. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. And who's this young lady? My name is Sasato Megutaba. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. The way Sasato's side eyeing him looks like the fucking monkey puppet meme mule, and it's like... that one. It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor. Oh, if only I'd met a refined young woman like you sooner. None of this would have happened. Oh, that's not logical. That makes no sense at all. Oh dear, I'm sorry if my presence here upset you. I owe you an apology too, Professor. I didn't manage to deliver what I promised you I would in the court this morning. Oh no. No. The whole thing. The whole miserable affair. It all happened because I've been such a complete and utter clot. Professor Harebrained? What have you been working on in your cell? He's like this. Not too bad. Bit of Pythagoras going on here, huh? Oh, you mean Zet? Oh dear. How embarrassing. I was suddenly struck by an idea, you see. And I simply had to write it down, so it was all I had to hand. Oh, is it some new hypothesis? Something to surpass super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, maybe? No, actually. This is my autobiography. Sorry. Your autobiography? How I Was Diddled and Fiddled by Albert Harebrained. Maybe don't call it that then. I found I can represent my odd fortunes with only odd numbers in an ambitious set of simultaneous equations. Really? I'm going to have to pay back all the loans I took for the kinesis machine, you'll see. There's going to be a new serial publication from next month. Part 1, an odd birth, an odd upbringing. Can't beat the man's optimism, that's for sure. I see. Well, for now, would you mind if we talked a little more about the case? Oh, yes, of course. I've been working through the numbers. I was diddled. I was fiddled. There's a pair of them. Stop saying diddle, please. Stop it. By Assmann. And by that aloof engineer Drebber. We're not going to sit through an explanation of all these equations, are we? This morning's trial. Everything I have believed in has been turned on its head. My research, Mr. Assmann, the kinesis machine, my hypothesis even. I'm sorry it's come to this. There was really no other way. No, it's not your fault. I wanted to protect my work, but in the end, there was nothing worth protecting. It was never my intention to deceive anyone. I didn't want to trick the public. He's just used. It's kind of sad. No, of course you didn't. But in court this morning, I realized something. Oh? If you've done something wrong without knowing it, you've still done something wrong. Logically, it makes no difference if you're aware of it or not. Ignorance is a poor excuse. The blame still lies with me. Oh, Professor. He believed in me this morning, you know. Barak did. He believed in my hypothesis. Well, I think That was just a necessary factor in the prosecution establishing his case. No, Barak wouldn't do something like that. I'm sure he genuinely believed it. Did he? I think I understand now. Why it was that he decided to take on the prosecution in my trial, I mean. Barak's motivation? Ah, it's closer. Van Ziek's motivation. After the terrible accident happened, nobody would believe in my hypothesis anymore. Not the police, not the prosecution service, not any lawyers even. I feel like I dealt some kind of finishing blow there. If any other prosecutor had taken the case, if it was anyone other than Barak, I'm sure the prosecution would have declared my hypothesis a complete and utter nonsense. And in that case, you would have been declared a fraud yourself, Professor. Exactly. Which would have been a fate worse than death for me. Barak insisted that I was a proper man of science from start to finish. You think that's why he... I know him very well indeed. He's an extremely kind-hearted soul. But that extremely kind-hearted soul spent all morning trying to paint you as a murderer, didn't he? Well, admittedly, that part of the analysis appears to have some flaws in it. What about the whole Reaper side of things? How does that fit in with the kind-hearted soul idea? Mr. Asman. Do you think he set out to trick me from the very start? I'm sorry to say, that does seem likely, yes. When I first met him, he introduced himself as a wealthy financier. He looked over the paper I had written, and said my work would benefit all humanity and must be pursued. He was so enthused, he was so emphatic. But in reality, he was the mastermind of some vast criminal network, it seems. I still can't believe it. As the machine was essentially a set decoration for some stage magic. It probably didn't require a large amount of investment, actually. But the scale of it wasn't just some small trick. It was a very elaborate feat of deception. All young scientists are full of hope about their burgeoning ideas, full of zeal. But none of us have any money. We want to do research, but we can't afford it. But lecturers do, right? They do, like, become lecturers for universities just so they can do research, really? Many of us take on barely legal part-time work to try to earn just a few measly pennies to carry on. To go through all of that only to be taken for a complete fool is too rotten to believe. It is, I agree. That's why we have to find those responsible and bring them to justice. Mr. Asman is no more, of course, which leaves only the engineer. Mr. Enoch Drebber. I was sad to say that. Drebber, the engineer. Is he an engineer, or a magician, or a swindler? It was about a year ago when Mr. Asman first brought Drebber to meet me at my laboratory. Since then, I met him many times to discuss details about the Kinesis machine. But at no point did you have any inkling that he was just an illusionist? Oh, he definitely wasn't just an illusionist. What do you mean? He was a vessel of deep scientific knowledge. There's no question that the man's a genuine scientist. It's instantly apparent in conversation. I see. But the wretched man deceived you, Professor. It's unforgivable. We must do everything we can to find him and bring him to justice. Are there no more clues you can give us as to his whereabouts? I'm sorry. We only ever discussed the Kinesis machine, nothing else. More for research funds and stuff? Oh, the being a lecturer, okay. Also, just once, I did visit his workshop. What workshop? Drebber's enormous fabrication laboratory, but he constructed my great machine. This is a sad, slow turn. Why didn't you mention this before? Enoch Drebber's workshop? There's every chance we might find the man there. Drebber's workshop. Have you been to Drebber's place of work then? Yes, just once, you understand. It was an enormous place, plenty of room to construct the Kinesis machine, you see. Where can we find it? We have to go there at once. There's a good chance that we'll find Drebber there. Well, yes, definitely. I'm sure, as in, I'm sure you're not going to want to hear this. But I've absolutely no idea where the workshop is at all. Was he brought there like blindfolded or something maybe? I'm so sorry. I was more than half expecting that. Maybe he's just forgotten. Ah! There you go. You see, I was blindfolded into the carriage the entire way there. Blindfolded you? Wasn't taking any chances then. The place was incredible. It's the pinnacle of modern engineering. Even the oil he used was the very best. A special French machine oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. Ah, the indescribable scent of that imported oil. Perfumers across the world should forget their secret formula and use that instead. What do you think, Mr. Sato? Is it your Odin machine? Odin machine for your next birthday? I've never used any kind of perfume, Mr. Naruhodo. I'm not sure I'd like to start with that. It's funny, in one of the Sherlock Holmes games I played, they have like a dog that they use to like follow scents and stuff, and we don't really have that in this. So. I don't suppose you know even part of the workshop's address, Professor. You going to the business card from Mr. Drebber, for example? That embossed lettering. Let's see Mr. Drebber's card. Now, I was clearly very cautious, Mr. Sato. I'm sure he would have like, ah! Yes, I do. He gave me his business card once. It's right here, look. Great letter. I finish. God. Let me see that. Throw etiquette to the wind, why don't you? Enoch Drebber, engineer. I'm afraid that's all it says. There's no address. Ah, it's some secret to the card. Oh. Oh well. I can't say I'm surprised. Still, this could be useful. Drebber's card. Let's have a look at the card. Smudgy, smudgy. This dark smudge here. I think perhaps it's machine oil. Ah, yes, possibly. Professor Herbert mentioned something about the oil Mr. Drebber uses, didn't he? He said it was specially imported, very high quality oil. It's impossible to obtain in Britain. Yes, that's right, but more importantly, that it's more fragrant than the finest perfume. So, excuse me a moment. It doesn't appear to have any scent at all, huh? Don't worry, I expect it's just because there's such a tiny amount on here. Details have been updated. There's a smear of machine oil on the reverse. Okay. It's just the name and the address and stuff. Damn, not really here. Mainly the oil. Okay. Well. Kind of move on, I think. The experimentation stage. Probably Gina and maybe Gregson. Madame Tuspels is going to be Witch Mommy. Forensics Laboratory is going to be the new lady here. Let's go see the Scotland Yard at the stage. 23rd of October. The Great Exhibition Grounds. Foot of the Crystal Tower. Gina! Hey! Did you have a dog? What was I just saying, huh? I usually have a dog for snuffing. But in the game it was Sherlock who had the dog, not the Scotland Yard. I had no idea there were so many people in the world. Also, Sato hasn't seen Gina in a while. That's right. It was Iris that saw Gina. I know what you mean. It's really packed here today. It feels as though it's taken us 2 hours just to make our way through the crowds to this point. Has it? I shut my brain down so I didn't really notice, to be honest. Gosh, I do wish I had your absence of mind sometimes, Mr. Naruhodo. There you are. I had a feeling you lot would show your mugs before long. Nope, it's Gregson. Fuck. Gregson been sucking about a helium from the balloons, hey? Where's your fish and chips, Gregson, hey? To be fair, if it was Gina, she would have been. There would have been more like shortened words. Oh, Inspector Gregson, I see you're hard at work as usual. Warm greetings to you. I do hope you've been keeping well since we last met. Finally done eating? Nah, they're in his pockets or something. What's all the ceremony? We just saw each other in court this morning. Not you, Sunshine. The gentlewoman so loyally at your side. Oh. Why, thank you, Inspector. How good of you to notice. There they are. He might be a bit rough around the edges, but he's still a proper English gentleman at heart, I suppose. As you probably guessed, we were hoping to investigate the scene some more. Right, well, that's the young trainee's domain. That's right, Strongheart said we could investigate around. Oi! Get over here, Gina! Doggy. He seems to be busy playing with a puppy. Probably giving it a traditional East End training. Gina? She's a police officer now? Amazing, isn't it? She's a good kid, actually. Heart's in the right place, anyway. She got the detection bug, if you ask me. Yep. I think she'll follow in my footsteps nicely. What do you mean? I'm being transferred. It's time for me to say toodaloo to London. Ah, we're losing Gregson. Oh no, really? That's a bit sudden, isn't it? I had no idea. Where are you going to be posted then? We'll come to see how you're getting along. Not likely. But you're welcome to try. If you don't mind a trip to France, that is. To France? I'll be working in the Paris Police Prefecture. Should be right up my alley. But France is an entirely different country. I don't understand. Why would you be sent there? That's the way the adult world works, Sunshine. Now don't you go poking your nose where it's not wanted. I'm intending to take the kid with me when I go. You're losing Gina too? What? You're taking Gina to Paris? Well, I can't leave her here in London. Who knows what'll become of her? Suppose he's worried she slipped back into slipping her hands in people's pockets and purses. I don't think he's worried about her pickpocketing, Mr. Naruhodo. I think he's worried about the Reaper. Oh, of course. That's playing on Inspector Gregson's mind too, is it? Anyway, I haven't mentioned any of this to Gina. So don't go blabbing, you hear me? No, of course not. We've got to keep that Diving Diva safe and sound. Until all this is over, at least. Uh-oh. Oi! Did you just call me a bloomin' Diving Diva again? So you heard that, did you? Right, well. Any questions about the scene? Put it to my capable detective diva here. Where's the dog? Alright, you are the boss. Inspector Lestrade's in charge here now. Suppose I better keep my word and not mention anything about Paris. So, Gina, you've got a new dog, have you? Hee. Isn't he great? Toby's his name. As in, like, Tobias Gregson. Oh, how delightful. He's absolutely adorable. Yes, the dog does seem very lovely. But it's a not so lovely Inspector Gregson that's playing on my mind, to be honest. Do you know where'd the dog go? Nope. I can talk to Gina still. Investigating the scene. Gina. We were actually hoping that we can investigate the scene again. Yeah, alright. If it's around here, you can do what you like. Oh, that's alright, is it? I'm gonna be playing with my new friend here. Ah yes, Toby. The machine that exploded must be at the top of these stairs, I presume. I haven't actually seen it yet, so if you don't mind. Sorry, you can't go up there, Suze. Oh. Like I told Odo yesterday, even I ain't allowed near that wreck. What's it called again? The reason we ain't supposed to touch it? The special dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act? Is that what you were thinking of? That's the one. That's why only them lot are allowed to investigate it. What are they called again? The forensic something? The forensic investigation team? Is that what you were thinking of? That's the one, yeah. But isn't it the case that the special dispensation has been lifted? I think so. I don't really get it, to be truthful with you. You're still supposed to get permission from some bigwig or other, as far as I know. What was his name again? Lord Strange something? I'm not sure that's quite right, Gina. I think you mean Lord Strongheart, perhaps. That's the one, yeah. Apparently he's always watching the time or something. Actually, we've just recently been to see Lord Strongheart. Eh? You what? You've met him? Last time the bosses called to go and see him, he waited for 3 hours at the Cove's office and came back sniveling. Tragic. Well, Lord Strongheart has given us permission to examine the scene as long as we touch nothing. Oh yeah? Honestly. Alright then, go ahead. But if it turns out you're lying, it'll be the boss who gets it. He'll never eat another chip again in his life. Rip. So, you're still saying all this is above board, are you? I'm sure everything will be fine. That really would be tragic. Alright then, them's the stairs. Off you go. Oh, thank you, Gina. Let's go. Today's trial. It was great, weren't it? I had a right laugh. It was a new one on me, that. You know, being in court and not spending the whole time worrying about to be found out. You did keep an awful lot of secrets in all your previous court appearances, didn't you? Yeah, I know those made things hard for me every single time and all. Just do my job, you know. Watching someone else get it in the neck is a lot of fun, actually. It was amazing when you showed that dodgy professor's dodgy experiment with a total fix. The dodgy professor, you put it, Gina. And Mr. Naruhodo's client. Yes. I'm starting to wish he wasn't, though. It's the boss I feel sorry for. Sent off to do the impossible. What do you mean? He's supposed to rest out of their cove, ain't he? And in time for tomorrow and all. You know, the dodgy engineer. What's his name again? Mr. Drebber, you mean? Enoch Drebber? That's the one, yeah. So the police are looking for this mysterious man with the black monocle. I guess they would be. It's putting too much on the boss if you ask me. He says it's giving him gut ache. Oh dear. But I do wonder if that isn't actually from all the fried food. Man loves his fish and chips now. The engineer's whereabouts. So Scotland Yard are trying to track down Mr. Enoch Drebber. I wonder if they've had any luck. He's really funny looking. Got 2 eyes what don't match. Stole a glimpse of the picture of him earlier. I mean, I didn't actually pinch it or nothing. The old devil's got it. Sorry, who? You know, that Skyline Reaper what's always glugging down glasses, that blood red plonk. Blood red plonk. Ah, Lord Van Zeeks. He's always at it in for me, that cove. Don't know what he's always scouting about, mind. Probably would have been a pretty good boss as it goes. You'd rather be the Reaper's apprentice than a detective's trainee? The way I see it. If the choice is between a chip-guzzling detective and a Charles-glugging demigod, you're equally badly off with both. I suppose you're right. I hadn't thought of it like that. Glad I put that one to bed. Anyway, the point is, everyone at the yard's dead set on finding the fishy engineer. But there don't seem to be no clues to go on, so they're stuck. There's nothing that can lead us to Drebber at all. Maybe if we show Gina the card? Toby the dog. Where did you find that little mutt then, Gina? Oi! Don't be so flaming rude, Odo. Slight overreaction, don't you think? He ain't no mutt, alright. Toby's. How did they put it? Oh yeah, a bona fide detective. Sorry? I've given him a proper title and everything. It's Chief Inspector Toby to you. More senior than Inspector Gregson, is he? Oh, so he's a police dog, is he? The police recruit dogs now? I've heard that they're already being used officially in Germany as part of their city policing. They're used for chasing criminals and such like. They have a wonderful sense of smell, after all. I have a fairly good sense of smell myself, as it turns out. Yeah, the dog finds the oil. See, I was on to something earlier, hey? I can tell undergarments that have been freshly laundered from undergarments that haven't. That's nothing compared to this little fella Otto. Oh, really? According to what the boss said, once Toby Ears got a good whiff of your drawers, he could chase that scent to the other side of the world. Alright, Toby. Let's fucking go, my man, huh? What? To the other side of the world? You mean he can swim? Mr. Naruhodo, I think you may have missed the point, or rather a wide margin. I just can't believe this little dog has such an incredible skill. I'm telling you, Otto, there's gonna be more and more dogs doing their bit for the police in future. Yes, I agree. Right, one of these days they'll be barking orders at us lot, not the other way around. Oh dear. Where are my balls, Summer? Sorry, Gene, I don't think I agree with your vision quite that much. But where are my testicles, Summer? Well, anyway, whatever you think about that, Toby here is Britain's first police dog. I found him down the East End the other day. Someone had just chucked him out on the street. Oh no. There you go, I knew she'd lifted him from somewhere. Oh, Gina, you're such a kind-hearted soul, aren't you? You children into animals. Do we investigate first, or do we present the... I think we present the card first, maybe. And then we'll go check out the thing. How about this, Gina? Yeah, I'm still learning my letters at the moment. I only know A to E. So if it ain't too much trouble... So it ain't too much bleeding trouble. Actually, Gina... It's the back of the card that's important. Eh? How come? There's just a dirty old smudge on the back, that's all. It turns out this is a very high quality French machine oil. It is a very particular scent, apparently. You don't say. Let's have a whiff then. Sniffer. You sure? I don't smell nothing. No. We didn't mean that you should smell it. Oh, right. You mean Toby. Arf. His sense of smell is so good he can track people over the oceans, can't he? Professor Harebrain informs us that this oil is unique to Mr. Drebber's workshop. Sniff, 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 sniff. I think he's picked up a scent. So you mean if he follows the scent of this oil, Toby could lead us to that dodgy Cove's workshop? That's right. That's exactly what we were hoping. Alright then, we'll give it a go. I'll just borrow that. But wait, when did you... Wants a pickpocket. If I can lead everyone to the Drebber's workshop, I'll be the boss's boss before next week. Oh yes, Gina. I'm sure you'll be promoted. Per Gregson. We didn't get to investigate the scene though. Right then, Otto, leave it to me. Sorry. We're gonna get going after that dodgy engineer Cove right this minute. Oh, but hang on. Someone's supposed to be on guard duty here all the time. Thank you, Christian.
Omile Ord Hay Raisins.
Hello. Thank you for the 14 months. Much appreciated. Thank you, thank you. I'm afraid we can't help. We need to get on with our investigation as well, Gina. Oh, right. Oh well, never mind. It ain't gonna be me what gets it in the neck. It'll be the boss. Per Gregson. Again. Ready, Toby? Got that all sent, have you? Come on then, boy. See you later. Oh. They dipped. I do hope the scent of that oil leads into that swindler's workshop. Yes, I hope so too. Ideally before the dog swims across the Channel de France. I suppose we're gonna just like head up the stairs now, right? Examine. I think we do this and it goes up. Takes us up, right? These stairs lead up to the experimentation stage. Let's go and see what we can find out. Let's have a look at the machine. 23rd of October. The Red Exhibition Ground. Experimentation stage. Oh my, so this is the machine. It was used to deceive people into thinking instantaneous kinesis had taken place. Yes, that's right. Or rather, it was the machine. It's a little worse for wear at the moment. What extraordinary length Professor Harebrained went to in order to obtain the research grant. No. The professor was strict as well. He didn't know anything about it. Yes, of course. It is amazing though, isn't it? The scale of the whole affair is so very British. Right about that. You never see such a grand deception in Japan, that's for sure. Oh look, is that... Oh, Banzix is here. Or Banzix? Oh. I think we're more or less done here, aren't we? Shall we, Mr. Sato? Already? He is the Reaper, remember. We do well to keep our distance, I think. But we have permission to be here, from the top. We're perfectly well allowed to investigate this machine. As long as we don't touch anything. From the top? Do you meet Lawrence Strongheart? Exactly. We can stay here and stare at this wreckage for as long as we like. We could have been at the center of the explosion here and it wouldn't have bent her steel will. We'll talk to Van Zix once we're done checking things out. What a terrible explosion it must have been. Even the steel girders have buckled and twisted in the blast. What they call the bird cage was right in the middle of it all, just here. But look, Mr. Naruhodo, the metal grill on the floor. Looks as though it's designed to open. It does, doesn't it? If the floor had opened at the precise moment the explosion occurred, the birdcage could have dropped through, disappeared from sight. I don't think there's any doubt this was a very elaborate hoax, is there? This wasn't here yesterday. Is it the birdcage? Really, but if I'm not mistaken, it's the cage in which the victim was standing before he was apparently beamed through the air. That's right, the birdcage. According to what Professor Harebrained said in court, it's made of wood. More precisely, Japanese cypress, I think. And despite having been in an explosion and then falling from a great height, it's relatively unharmed. What wonderfully durable construction, wouldn't you say, Mr. Naruhodo? I understood that the forensic investigation team had taken it away yesterday to examine it. I suppose they must have brought it back here when they finished their work. But sadly, not with the body inside it. No, that's right. I know we were given strict instructions not to touch anything, but still, this is too important a piece of evidence to overlook. We might need it for the trial. Just take the whole birdcage, huh? Wooden birdcage. The wooden cage that was used for Professor Harebrained's experiment. This cage with the victim inside crashed down into the crystal tower. The Ferris wheel in the background. I hear that ride on the Ferris wheel is a favourite romantic outing among young London couples. I think the romance will be slightly spoiled by the abject terror personally, but then, I'm not a Londoner. Are you a little scared of heights, Mr. Naruhodo? Not that I'm scared, not at all. It's just that staying on the ground seems so much safer. Well, perhaps I shall have to ask Iris and Mr. Sholmes to accompany me on it in that case. When you put it like that, part of me does want to give it a try. FOMO! Oh dear, it is complicated for you, isn't it? Spoiler emote. The Mushi Hug one. Oh, isn't it exhilarating? All this different architecture from all the corners of the world? Oh, the money one. Oh, sorry, I didn't see that initially. I see, yeah. It does make you feel a bit like an explorer, doesn't it? I know it's all subjective, but the onion-shaped roofs have rather caught my attention personally. It is very subjective, isn't it? Japanese buildings with their wood and paper construction have excellent ventilation. And I've realised that British buildings being made from brick and stone are very strong and long-lasting. The more you know about how things are done in other countries, the more you understand your own, I feel. I just missed it initially. Oh yes, I do agree with you there. But I can't help wondering what an onion does for the roof of a building. I mean, I suppose it's playing on my mind because I don't like the taste of onions. You really oughtn't let your taste in vegetables dictate your taste in roofs, Mr. Naruhodo. Mobile time? Okay. And here's the gun part. Look at that horn-shaped transmitting device. Isn't it amazing? That's exactly what I thought when I first saw it. Makes you think, doesn't it? If only it had just been a normal horn, none of this would have happened. It's a big massive thing for just to go. I bet I can predict what you're going to say next in that case. You're about to say, nothing ever goes to plan, aren't you? Oh no, I would never say something like that. Look at the balloons, I guess. However much I look at them, I just can't come to terms with those Temari handballs floating in the sky. You've been glaring at them constantly since we came up here. Sorry, the feelings of wanting to ride in one and wanting never to set foot in one are fighting it out inside me. But if you don't look where you're walking, you might fall from the stage. I don't think I noticed. That's how fiercely the battle inside me is raging. I think you should make peace with riding in Mr. Naruhodo. It really would be much safer that way. Nothing else apart from the gun and the balloons? Alright, let's talk to Van Zieks. Least approachable man in the world, winner 10 years in a row. Be strong, Mr. Naruhodo. Your country and your assistants stand firm behind you. Lord Van Zieks? What? Well, beautiful weather we're having, isn't it? I thought I was making it quite clear that I didn't want to be disturbed. Apparently you Nipponese are unequipped to read the signs. Oh, I read them. So, what are you doing here? Entry to this area is prohibited. Well, the thing is, Lord Chief Justice Strongheart granted us permission to investigate, on the condition that we didn't disturb anything. And yet you've managed to disturb me. Never mind. State your business then. I'm gonna think of it. There are quite a few things I'd like to ask Lord Van Zieks about. Yeah, he supposedly has a picture of Drebber as well. Not least of which is that awful case, even though it's nothing to do with this. Ask away, Mr. Naruhodo. You won't know unless you try. What, the one where his fucking brother was killed? Yeah, your brother Clint. So, Clint. What's the name of your older brother, I understand? Lord Van Zieks. You Nipponese. I always have to be on guard whenever you're around. So, you've been investigating me, have you? Oh, no, it's not like that. Well, alright, it is a bit like that. My older brother was also a prosecutor. He was the pride of the Van Zieks family. But tragically, a vicious killer took him from us. The professor, you mean? Is something funny? That's the extent of what you've discovered, is it? I shouldn't be surprised. Sorry? There's more to it then. Lackluster work is very much your trademark, isn't it? Ah, you're too kind. Are you going to tar all Nipponese with the same brush next? So tell me, what's your interest in that historic incident? As it happens, Lord Van Zieks, there's a rather curious case that's come to our attention. Are you aware of the Madame Tuspel's Museum of Waxwork by any chance? I am, naturally. I believe that since last month I feature in one of the displays there, for public scorn. Of course the infamous Reaper of the Bailey would have it to be exhibited, wouldn't he? Well, a particular waxwork has been stolen from the place and held for ransom. A particular waxwork, which... Wait, you mean... Yes, it's the professor. Mr. Sholmes is investigating the case as we speak. I was unaware of that. He's turned as white as a sheet. Enoch Drebber. Are the police trying to locate the engineer, Mr. Drebber, already? Surely that goes without saying. We're very keen to see him found as well. The trouble is, we don't have much to go on aside from the description of the man we heard in court earlier. Which, according to Professor Harebrain, was of a tall, thin gentleman who has straight white hair and wears a black monocle. So I was just wondering, I mean, I realize it's probably not possible, but, we'd very much appreciate any more clues you can give us. Wow. Sado-san really knows how to take the bull by the horns. Fine, why not? I have a photograph of the man here from an investigation 10 years ago. So it appears he already had that black monocle at the time. Matches the picture I saw. What? Oh, no, nothing. I was just surprised you shared that with us. We all need the man's testimony in court tomorrow, which means we have to do everything we possibly can to track him down in the short time available. So why wouldn't I show you the photograph? Fair? What is it about Lord Van Zieks? Sometimes I just can't work him out at all. The photograph of Drebber has been entered into the court record. Oh, the assistant. Ah, the file I requested for the trial tomorrow. Thank you. Oh yes, Sado-san. Sado hasn't seen him yet. Are you alright? Who is this man, Mr. Naruhodo? Lord Van Zieks' apprentice, apparently. I'm not the only one. Sado-san can see it too. Lord Van Zieks, may we speak with your apprentice for a moment? With him? Why? Kazuma-sama! Kazuma? I don't believe it. Your posture, your presence, can only be... It's you, isn't it, Kazuma-sama? I felt something strange the very first time I encountered this cloaked figure. As if I knew him somehow. Can it really be you, Kazuma? Wait! Too late. What's going on here? Your apprentice. Adepta? What is your interest in my apprentice exactly? You act as if you know him, know the man or something. Well, since when has he been in your care? I don't recall you having an apprentice before I left Britain 6 months ago. Lord Strongheart introduced him to me about 3 months ago now, with instructions to mentor him as a prosecutor. But he didn't tell you why, did he? The man appears to be suffering from amnesia. He's forgotten every last detail about himself. He has amnesia? Tomorrow he will appear in court at my side. What? He's to serve as my judicial assistant, on Lord Strongheart's orders. He'll be in court with us? Now then, unless I'm much mistaken, I believe this conversation has run its course. Oh, yes, thank you. I definitely saw a reaction there. When Sado-san called out like that, it really seemed to hit a nerve. When she called out Kazuma-sama. You'd already met that masked man, hadn't you, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, yesterday, in fact. At Lord Van Zieks' office. I see. And if Kazuma-sama really is still alive, it means that Mr. Sholmes lied to us. I know. We're going to need to speak to him about that. You're going to have to leave now. The forensic investigation team are due to arrive shortly. If they find you here, it will cause problems. What sort of problems? Foreign affairs problems. Supposed to be a Nishiki-style betrayal? If he's got amnesia, I don't think so. I think it's different then. Nishiki's was all of his own choice, really. Nishiki's problem was that he didn't have the yin to his yang, you know? He didn't have his anchor. But everything he did was bullying, you know? But does he really? I'm sure. We'll see. Foreign affairs problems. What we can do without that? Alright, we'll be on our way. Let's go, Mrs. Sato. Of course. Why the mask, then? Dunno. The way I'm interpreting it is that he was presented to Van Zieks with the mask, but maybe not. Madame Tuspel's is a forensic laboratory. Which waifu do we go see first time? The witch or the coroner, huh? It's an easy answer, huh? It's an easy answer. 23rd of October, Madame Tuspel's. Oh my, no wonder it's called the House of Horrors. I like to turn on my heels and go straight home, via the confectionery. Being scared makes you crave sweets? I can understand that. I was looking forward to your reunion after 6 months away, but there's no sign of Mr. Sholmes anywhere. That's strange. You should be here investigating the abduction of the waxwork. Oh well. I suppose we'll just have to come back later. She's not here! No! Tragic, huh? Not here. Right, to the forensic laboratory. Ooh, spooky. 23rd of October, forensic laboratory. I believe this is it. Dr. Seid's laboratory. Chemical smell really assaults the nose. There's plenty to assault the eyes in here too. Looks as though the doctor isn't here. Fuck! We're here now, so we may as well do some sightseeing, don't you think? What a seasoned tourist you become, Mrs. Sato. We can just have a little look around, being careful not to upset any restless souls. What's with the skeleton? Spooky lamp. I suppose this is Dr. Seid's desk. I would not like to work in a place like this. Very tidy though, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo? Imagine how efficiently she must work. The lighting is poor, which is bad for the eyes. And the chemical smell can't be good for you. Not to mention the skeleton watching over you at work, which is definitely bad for the nerves. The birds as well. Oh, there's a crow here. To the right of the oil, there's a crow or a magpie or something. Well, yes, there's a valid concern, I suppose. I can just about cope with a one-eyed Daruma doll watching over me, but that's all. Bird. It looks like an owl and a crow up there. I know, and they haven't even twitched since we came in here. Well, no, they wouldn't have. They're taxidermy mounts, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, I was afraid you were going to say that. I've been trying very hard to tell myself they're just sleeping with their eyes open. Yeah, I think perhaps you were wise to put something like your Daruma doll on display in the office instead. Oh, it's Delton. Oh, look at this. What a magnificent display case. The cherry wood has been polished to a high sheen and the intricate carving is a joy to behold. Western cabinet makers really are very skilled, aren't they? You have nothing to say about the skeleton inside, Mr. Naruhodo? Mrs. Sato. Can't you tell that I'm trying very hard to avoid talking about the terrifying contents of the case? It's how I cope! I'll be sure to remember that from now on. Bone saw is ready. Look at all the bottles on the shelves in these cabinets. What an assortment of chemicals. These ones here are labeled highly toxic. Huh, that's worrying. Because there are also things that look like salt and pepper shakers in there. Oh yes, and they actually say salt and pepper on them. The doctor probably spends a lot of time in this room, I suppose. Perhaps she has meals here sometimes. Life goes on, even when you're surrounded by death. As one does, though. Tools! I've gotta have my tools. A table and a sharp set of tools. When you consider each in isolation, it all looks quite innocent. But why is it when you put them side by side, they seem so horribly disturbing? Maybe best not to ponder it too deeply. Seeing the large tome that's open on the desk doesn't make me wonder, though. How can anybody concentrate on bookwork with this acrid odor of chemicals in the air? You'd either have to have a cast iron constitution or a really terrible sense of smell. You want to hear that? With body parts. Those large jars seem to have pale things floating around inside them. Conical jars from ancient Egypt. I suppose they're fruit liquors or something. Or perhaps the pickled umeboshi plums we make back home. Oh, that's like the really like sour plums, isn't it? Father had jars like that in his laboratory as well. I expect they're human organs in a preserving solution. Probably as examples of some rare medical condition. Sato. There are some things in the world that's perfectly fine never to know about. Ever. Oh. So as I said, I'm sure they're fruit liquors or umeboshi. Aren't they? Oh, of course. My man's getting fucking terrified. It's not here. Unless we show Dr. Hairbrain the picture of our man's. Gold something? Gold fine? Oh, we can examine the the birdcage as well. Broke. Ah, look here, Mrs. Sato. Oh yes, the wood's cracked and broken a little. I suppose because it fell from such a height. Yes, from the height at which the balloon was flying down into the crystal tower below. A fall of about 30 feet. Or 9 meters. Leaving the man inside tragically dead. Crashed down with the victim inside into the crystal tower, causing damage to its face. Okay. I guess I made a bit of evidence for extra details we're going to get from that. What was the other picture? The balloon photo that the wee kid took, right? Got's money or whatever the fuck his name is though. Okay. Has Gina maybe found the new location? What are Shomes back? No, maybe not. We can't ask him about the why he lied to us. We didn't go to we can't go to Van Ziek's office is like grayed out. Maybe we can present the picture to him. Or is it maybe the birdcage? Just get him to talk with them. Nah, none. That's the birdcage. The picture maybe? Nah, okay. Neither of those work. Okay. What if we go back to here and see if Gina's back with Toby? No. Yeah, the investigation team's up there, right? We've missed something. Just the... I think the Jacqueline the Ripper, or whatever she's called. We've spoken to everyone. This guy's a fucking robot. He's one of the... No, he's one of the... Well, robot waxworks. He's an Autumn, not a real person. You know, back at the legal consultancy? No, just... Sato. No one's in the office. No? Okay. Is there something else to discover in here? We've already looked at our book, right? Nope, we haven't looked at our book. Okay. Look at this big, thick book here. That appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of the forensic investigation team's spending, I think. Oh? What is it? It's good the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but... Well, one entry seems rather strange. Really? In what way? They're buying 500 scalpels every month. 500? Must be working really hard on dissecting corpses. I don't know. Judicial autopsies only carried out in certain special circumstances. Scalpel blades can be sharpened too. It does seem a bit strange, you're right. 500 scalpels a month? What could they possibly be using all of them for? That's a lot of scalpels. What are you doing? Ah! He's here. Sorry, we had something we wanted to ask you, but you weren't here, so... You thought you'd snip around? That's acceptable to you people from the east, is it? Well, what do you want? Oh, another one, huh? Lord Strongheart told us, you see, that it was you who examined the victim's body. Mr. Asmon's body, I mean. We came to ask you about your findings, on Lord Strongheart's advice. Very well. If the Lord Chief Justice has given his consent, I'll tell you what our investigation revealed. But when we're done, you must leave immediately. Alright. Your findings. So, you want to know what the forensic investigation team determined from its examination of the scene? The victim, Mr. Odie Asmon, who disappeared from the experimentation stage and amid an explosion, and the Mr. Asmon, who appeared moments later, partway up the Crystal Tower, were without question one and the same person. That is the team's conclusion. But that can't be right. If it was an elaborate trick, we can only speculate about how it was carried out. Let's see. If two people who look very similar to each other were involved, could be twins. They could have made it appear as if one single person had switched places, couldn't they? Would twins be biologically the same? Very true, but sadly in this instance it was not the case. The man who disappeared and the man who subsequently reappeared was the same person. The fingerprints at the scene make that quite evident. Ah, fingerprints. Cut my hair next week, the fluff will be gone. They're not yet officially recognised as forensic evidence in the British justice system, but one day, they will be used as an investigative aid as a matter of course. Weird that fingerprints are not a thing yet. As a evidence. Oh my, but that would mean that the instantaneous kinesis actually took place. So, where does that leave us? My team was tasked with investigating, not drawing conclusions. Instantaneous kinesis is impossible, and yet the body did move from one place to the other. This hasn't cleared anything up at all. It made the whole thing even more of a mystery. Good music though as well. Percy, hey? Mama, what is this? Ah! Where'd she spring from? And Did she just call the doctor Mama? This is a lawyer, dear. Oh. Hello. To meet you, please to meet you. Yeah, I'm a defense lawyer. Renosuke Naruhodo. Mama. Yes. Can I cut this one up? What? Oh, Jesus. I've never seen inside an Eastern person before. I want to know what it looks like. Get them all the button. Of course you can't. It's a live specimen, as you can very well see. Is she cute though? You wanna see what's under this mask? Boring. I think just had a near-death experience. Oh dear, Mr. Naruhodo, you're as pale as a corpse. And I see I'm mistaken for one. Get the fuck out. Well, I think we've done all the investigating we can here for now. We can just determine the whereabouts of Mr. Drebber. I'm sure Gina and little Toby won't let us down. Now then, you think we ought to try to speak with Mr. Sholmes at this point? We have things to discuss and I'm dying to meet him again after all these months. Yes, it's quite possible he might know something useful, you're right. We'll have to find him at Madame Tuspel's. He's supposed to be working there as a temporary waxwork exhibit. Yeah, Cyrus told me all about his latest unusual venture. Be here before we get fucking attacked. Is she here? 23rd of October, Madame Tuspel's Museum of Waxwork. Here we are again at the House of Horrors. I'm afraid I haven't got used to the place yet. I'd still like to turn on my heels and go straight home, via the confectionery, of course. Sato-san really is up something sweet today, isn't she? What's the matter? Look, Mr. Naruhodo, look at that waxwork. I'm quite sure it wasn't there before. Looks exactly like Mr. Sholmes down to the very last detail. Aha. What is it? Oh, sorry, I think you'll find... That's the temporary waxwork himself. Here we go, boys. Ah, the friend of my dedicated employee. Oh yes, hello again. It's Renosuke. Renosuke Naruhodo. I must say, I'm quite spellbound by the great detective. He is a marvel. My precious waxwork is already back where it belongs. You don't mean... But yes, the mystery is solved already. Wow, Mr. Sholmes can really engage his brain when he's hungry enough. So as you can see, he has returned to his habitual duties. Yes. His habitual duties? Alors... Oh, she's French, isn't she? That's right. Do not disturb her. Versus Sato-san, she looks very perplexed. I forget this spell is meant to be French. No. Take that one. Go speak to Sholmes. We really do need to speak with Mr. Sholmes, and I'm longing to say hello again. But where is he? He's made you look alright, knob. I think you might find that he's quite nearby, actually. Oh. What do you... Indeed, my dear fellows, it is I. The world-famous great detective in waxwork, Herlock Sholmes. Sato-san! Sato-san! My most humble apologies. I thought I died and gone to eternal paradise for a moment. Via London. My dear madam. Allow me to make amends by offering you a tasty free deduction at some point. As long as it's not a questionable street food quality. I don't understand. Why are you working as a waxwork here, Mr. Sholmes? Merely a secret identity, you understand. But the case is largely solved now. Largely solved? We're talking about the waxwork abduction, I presume. Indeed we are, my good fellow. As I predicted, it was as easy as proverbial pie. Though I confess, I'm yet to partake of a pie, proverbial or otherwise. Or any food so far today, for that matter. Me, huh? A stomach rumble echoed around the whole museum. So, how did you manage to solve it so quickly? Ah, well. You remember I said it was largely solved. Anyway, I simply negotiated with the culprit. Are you familiar with the so-called telephone? Have a good night, Noodle. See you later on. Have a good sleep. Oh yes, it's a most modern invention, allowing you to hold a conversation with people far away. In Japan, only the imperial capital and a handful of other cities were connected as yet. This morning, a telephone call was received here from the perpetrator of the abduction. As such, I was able to negotiate terms, and in the end, the waxwork was returned. That's amazing. Just between you and I, it would appear the culprit had always intended to return the stolen waxwork in any event. Oh, but I thought whoever was responsible had demanded a ransom, no? Yes, I think perhaps the ransom demand was necessary to avoid unwanted suspicion regarding the true motive. But does that not mean your negotiating was entirely unnecessary? A fact that I must ask you to keep from Madame Tuspel's at all costs. A hungry young Iris awaits my return to Baker Street, after all. Or Iris. Now then, do I sense that you have some business with this great waxwork? Yes, Sholmes, we have fucking things to discuss, my man. Hi. Why'd you like this? There we go. Talk about Enoch Driver first. We'll ease him in. We're in the process of trying to track somebody down. Oh? Yes, a man by the name of Enoch Drebber. He's the swindler who duped Professor Harebrain, and the engineer who built the kinesis machine. A swindler and an engineer? Quite the modern man. He also seems to be a conjurer of sorts too, with considerable knowledge of stage magic. A conjurer of cheap tricks. We really need to locate him before the trial resumes tomorrow morning. But we have so few clues to go on. That's the trouble. You have any good ideas? I have no data yet. It is a capital mistake to have good ideas before one has data. If I knew something of the man's appearance, at least I may be in a better position to help. Yes, Drebber's appearance. Fortunately for you, however, presently I have little to occupy myself and little to fill my stomach. As soon as you find any clue, no matter how small, I should gladly give you my thoughts on it. Okay, we'll present him with the picture then. Mr. Sholmes, would you cast your eyes over this photographic print? It's one of Mr. Enoch Drebber, the face of the engineer we seek. Well, all Englishmen look broadly the same, of course, so looking at the photograph won't be particularly instructive. Are you alright, Mr. Sholmes? Yes, forgive me. Very interesting, this. Very interesting indeed. What's wrong, Mr. Sholmes? You've turned quite pale all of a sudden. Who is this man now? Not talking anymore? Kazma's death. Mr. Sholmes, did you lie to us? My dear Mr. Naruhodo, say that piercing stare. What is this about? Last winter when we were first on our way to Britain aboard the steamship. Your words are very clear. So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious murder. You told us that it was murder, and you examined Kazuma-sama's body. Indeed. And wherein lies the problem? We met him earlier today, the victim, Kazuma Asugi. Quite sure. He was wearing some sort of mask and was apparently suffering from amnesia. But yes, I'm quite sure. It was Kazuma-sama. You must... You must have known at the time, Mr. Sholmes, that he wasn't actually dead. Well, I can only assume I was swept up in the murderous atmosphere of the moment. But the fellow wasn't dead at all? Priceless. I don't suppose that performance would pass muster, would it, Mr. Naruhodo? I couldn't believe that the crewman present at the time made a mistake. But not you, Mr. Sholmes. I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to die. It will serve you well to remember that. Please, Mr. Sholmes. Tomorrow in court, you will find yourself on the threshold of a very great mystery. For now, I'm afraid that is all I can say. I have a suggestion, Mr. Naruhodo. Will you indulge me? Oh, well, what is it? As I explained to you when you arrived, the missing waxwork has been returned, and I personally reinstalled it in the exhibit from which it was taken, behind those thick curtains. Oh yes, the Professor exhibit, isn't it? Would you like to see it? For a mere 5 shillings? That's a special one-time only price, you understand. What? The opportunity won't come again, I might add. Wouldn't you like to see the fruits of my labour? Oh, well, we do have a rather pressing investigation to carry out. Perhaps we could postpone? The price is a very reasonable 5 shillings. I think you'll find it's well worth. Are you being quite serious, Mr. Sholmes? Surely you need only look at my expression to ascertain if this is seriousness or silliness. I can never tell with you, that's the point. Very well, it couldn't hurt. Here's your 5 shillings. Gratefully received. So, the special exhibit awaits behind the curtain. I invite you to peruse at your leisure. Did you just dip? Oh, the money's been spent, so let's go and see the special exhibit. Through those heavy curtains at last. Let's see. 5 shillings we've had to pay. Doesn't seem right somehow that Mr. Sholmes slipped the money into his own pocket, does it? No. Ah, we could ask Ginny to retrieve it for us, using her special skills. Pickpocketing police officers and diddling detectives. Is this what makes Britain great? Not to mention demigod prosecutors taking the law into their own hands, or chip-loving inspectors. Inspector Gregson comes off rather well on that list, I think. Show me the statue for the waxwork. 23rd of October. Madam to spells. Special exhibit. God, why is getting into instruction? Oh, that's fucking great. It got no ad. Oh dear, I felt a shiver run down my spine as soon as we walked in here. Mrs. Sato. I say we turn on our heels and go straight home. Yeah, a really big confectionery. We certainly can't do that. We paid 5 shillings already. True. Actually, now that I'm looking a little more closely, he's got no ad. We paid good money to see an exhibit that's clearly incomplete. The nerve of the great diddling detective is far more terrifying than anything else in this place. This must be what Mr. Sholmes meant when he said the case was largely solved. Be that as it may, Mr. Sholmes heavily implied there'd be a clue about the engineer in here, didn't he? But where? Since we paid 5 shillings, let's do 5 shillings worth of investigation, shall we? Yes, we will get what we paid for. Is that fear or frustration making Sasato-san's voice tremble? This part of the exhibit is just as disturbing as the rest. It looks so real. Seems to be a young man in white overcoat. And he has a large shovel in his hand too. Look. What's around his neck though? Perhaps we should investigate in a little more detail. Goggles or something? Goggles and like a camera or something? He's also got one eye. What's this here? Well, this would appear to be a lens in the middle, so I believe it's probably a camera. Camera? But it's so small. British technology is incredible, isn't it? I mean, what about Mr. Sholmes' skin prints? I think perhaps you should treat Mr. Sholmes' inventions as exceptions to the rule. But anyway, why would the man be in a graveyard at night with a camera? I wonder. Perhaps he was trying to capture the moment the dead body came back as a ghost on film. We'll just borrow this for a little while, I think. The camera from around the neck of a waxwork in the Madame Tussauds special exhibit. By looking at the photographic plate inside the camera, we can see what picture was taken. What's a photographic plate? It's a piece of glass coated in a special emulsion that reacts to the light coming in through the lens. If we open the cover at the back of the camera, we should find it. Let's have a look. You see yourself, Sasato-san, your eyes are shining. You really do like machinery, don't you? Right here. Oh look, the cover came open. Yes, now, there should be a glass plate inside. If they change the plate with each new photograph you want to take to see. Is something wrong? There is no plate. It's been removed. Now what a pity, but I suppose if you think about it, this wouldn't be the actual camera that was used at the time. Just like the waxwork isn't the actual person. We'd never find a photographic print of the executed convict coming back to life anyway. Oh, yes, you're quite right, of course. Versus Sato-san, she looks devastated. Damn. What a wonderful machine. You really love contraptions like this, don't you? Oh yes, anything mechanical I find absolutely irresistible. Almost irresistible, surely? Well, whenever I see a pocket watch, for example, I can't help myself. I simply have to take it apart. That's worrying. Yeah, father tells me the time by the rumblings of his stomach now. He's given up having a watch. For Professor Miko Taba. Bloodstain. Look, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it? On the bellows just here, there seem to be some very dark red stains. Yes, you're right. Looks like blood, actually. Oh. Oh my. I'm sure it's not what you're thinking. Details of the camera have been updated. When the lens is extended, dark staining is visible on the bellows. Can we see his face? Like, can we, like, examine his face? Like, if I, like, aim it up? Can't see his face very well, can you? Perhaps if I just... Oh, do you think you should be manhandling the exhibit, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, you just fucking look up. I'll put it back exactly as it was, don't worry. That! What on earth? I can't believe it. A black monocle! Naruhodo, is it possible this man is... Yes. It's Enoch Drebber. Oh, sorry. There you go. That's the picture I saw on Google. That exact one. Yeah, I thought he looked the same when I was seeing him here. I thought the statue looked looked like him. The color of his hair is different, but it's unmistakably him. Indeed it is. Sholmes again. Mr. Sholmes. This man is the subject of your present hunt, I believe. Yes, that's right. Just who is this man? Why is he here in this exhibit? Who is he? And why does the convict behind him have no head? So no head? The head was missing when the model was returned by the thief who stole it. No surprise. Then the case isn't yet solved, is it? Did I not say so myself? Largely solved from my words, I believe. But I must locate the missing head, tout de suite, as Madame would say. I'll be in grave trouble here. Tout de suite. A very hungry Iris still awaits my return to Baker Street. Preferably with rations. Ah. You know, so something about this room strange. Strange? What do you mean? Well, the displays in the House of Horrors are supposed to depict real events, aren't they not? Indeed they are, Mr. Sato. Do go on. And as terrifying as they are, the scenes in the other exhibits are believable. But this one... this surely couldn't ever really have happened. Could it? I think it's time I educated you a little about the nature of the incidents involving the professor 10 years ago. Oh, what happened to Lord Van Zieks' brother? Alright, chat, we're actually going to call it there for tonight, I think. Good point to leave it off. We'll dive into the mysteries of the professor next time. That'll be next week for now. Tomorrow is the release date for God of War Ragnarok. We're going to be playing that. I can't wait. Then we're playing God of War on Thursday. Then I'm gone on Friday for Black Panther. And then back on Saturday for more God of War. Thanks for watching Ace Attorney. It's been a little bit, but it's always good fun to come back to. Just taxing on the old throat. But it's always great fun. So, thank you for watching. And we will return with Ace Attorney next week on Monday or Tuesday, depending on how I feel. But we should have 2 streams for it next week, I think. But yes, good night, folks. Good night, Pearl. See you later on. Have a good night. See ya. Goodbye.